She said she was staying at her friend's place. I wouldn't have checked if her location hadn't popped up by accident. We'd been dating for almost 3 years. Me and Lauren lived together for 2. Nothing dramatic, no shouting matches, no cheating scandals. That I knew of, just the usual disagreements about laundry and where to eat. The kind of steady relationship that makes you start thinking about rings and mortgage pre-approvals. So when she told me she needed a girls' night at Amanda's place after a rough week at work, I didn't think twice. I even offered to drop her off. "Nah," she'd said, pulling on her favorite oversized hoodie. "Amanda's picking me up." Cool. Whatever. I stayed home, grilled a burger, cracked open a beer, and queued up a basketball game. Somewhere around the third quarter, I opened Snapchat to send my buddy a meme. That's when it happened. The little map popped up. Lauren's location. And it wasn't Amanda's house. Not even close. She was about 25 minutes across town, in a part of the city she never had a reason to go to. Somewhere around East Glenwood, in a neighborhood full of lofts and overpriced wine bars. Definitely not Amanda's suburban condo with a dog in a backyard. I stared at the dot for a solid minute, waiting for it to move, thinking maybe it was a glitch. But it just sat there. So I texted her. Me. "Everything good? Say hi to Amanda for me." Lauren. "Yep, we're just ordering sushi." I reread that message about 10 times. My gut twisted. I've never been the jealous type, but something didn't sit right. Maybe it was the way she didn't send a pic of them hanging out, which she usually does. Or how quickly she responded, like she'd been expecting a check-in. I told myself to drop it, that I trusted her, but I didn't. 10 minutes later, I grabbed my keys. It wasn't until I pulled into the neighborhood that the full weight of what I was doing hit me. I'd never followed anyone before. This was new territory, shady territory. I turned off my headlights and rolled down the street slowly, checking addresses. Her dot had moved slightly, closer to the corner of 7th and Magnolia. My palms were sweaty. My mind raced with possibilities. Maybe Amanda had moved. Maybe they were visiting someone else. Maybe I was being a paranoid jerk. Or maybe I wasn't. I spotted her car, parked outside a modern-looking building with black brick walls and a balcony lined with string lights. The kind of place people go for dates, not girls' nights. I parked across the street and waited. 10 minutes later, the front door opened. I leaned forward. Lauren walked out, laughing. Her hair was pulled back, and she was wearing that same hoodie. She turned to say something to someone behind her, and then he stepped out. Tall guy, leather jacket, close shave. He smiled, said something, and she playfully shoved his shoulder. It wasn't flirty like in a movie. It was worse. It was familiar, comfortable, like they'd done this before. They started walking down the sidewalk, not holding hands, not doing anything incriminating, but everything in me screamed that this wasn't new. I ducked down in my seat, heart pounding in my throat. What the hell was going on? I didn't follow them right away. I just sat there, heart racing, hands glued to the wheel, staring down the street like I was in some low-budget spy movie. I told myself I needed to be sure. I wasn't about to jump to conclusions because she happened to be with a guy. Maybe he was a coworker. Maybe Amanda bailed and this guy swooped in as a plan B. Maybe she was going to tell me later and just hadn't gotten around to it. But deep down, I already knew. You can tell when someone's lying, and you can really tell when they're comfortable doing it. They walked into this trendy-looking bar on the corner, one of those places with Edison bulbs and acoustic covers of 90s songs playing way too loud. I watched the door close behind them, then leaned back and stared up at the ceiling of my car. What was I even doing? Lauren and I had been solid for years. We shared rent, a Netflix account, and toothbrush holders. This wasn't supposed to be part of our story. Not us. I opened her location again on Snapchat. Still there. Same building. I waited 5 more minutes, then stepped out of my car. My legs felt weirdly weak, like I'd just run sprints. I crossed the street and stood outside the bar, pretending to check my phone, trying to look casual. Through the big window, I saw them. Not at the bar, not at a booth. No. They were on one of those low couches tucked in the corner, candles on the table, 2 drinks. And her legs tucked under her, angled toward him like the entire world had disappeared, except for the 2 of them. She laughed again. Full on laughed, and then leaned over and touched his arm. That was it. I backed away from the window before I did something stupid. I sat in my car for a long time. No music, no calls, just the glow of my dashboard clock and the noise in my head. I kept asking myself the same thing over and over. Why didn't she just tell me? I wasn't perfect. I knew that. I worked long hours, forgot anniversaries, left dishes in the sink. But I showed up. I cared. I was planning our future like she was part of it. Like we were a team. And now I was just some guy sitting in a cold car while his girlfriend pretended to be somewhere else. Around 10:40 p.m., her location moved again. They were walking, probably heading back to wherever she parked, or his place. That was when the texts started coming in. Lauren, we're just gonna crash here. Too many drinks, LOL. Lauren, love you, babe. Good night. I stared at the heart emoji like it was some kind of sick joke. She was still lying. Even now. I didn't reply. I drove home, hands shaking on the wheel. I kept thinking I'd feel better once I got back, once I slammed the door, once I threw her hoodie into a corner or deleted her from my life. But I didn't. I just sat on the couch in the dark, staring at the floor, waiting for the sun to come up. I didn't sleep that night. And the next morning, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my brother. My brother answered on the second ring. Yo, everything good? I didn't know what to say. I just sat there, phone pressed to my ear, trying to form a sentence that wouldn't make me sound insane or pathetic. Eventually, I just muttered, "Can I crash at your place for a couple days?" He paused, didn't ask questions. Yeah, I'll send you the code to the door. Matt lived about 20 minutes away, in a small 2-bedroom he shared with his dog and an ever-growing collection of gym equipment. When I got there, he was already up, sitting at the kitchen table eating eggs straight out of the pan. You all right? He asked, setting the fork down. I dropped my bag by the door and sat across from him. Not really. He waited, like he knew I needed to let it spill in my own time. So I told him everything: the fake girls' night, the Snapchat map, the bar, the guy, the lie she sent me before bed, like everything was normal. He didn't say anything for a while. Then he nodded slowly. You think she's been doing this for a while? I don't know, I said. But it didn't look new. That's what messes with me. The way they were together, it was easy for her. Matt exhaled. You going back home? Not today. Lauren texted me around 9:30 the next morning. Lauren, hey babe, still sleeping? Lauren, Amanda made coffee. You'd love it, LOL. Every word made me nauseous. I didn't respond. At noon, she called. I let it ring out. A few hours later, she sent another message. Lauren, everything okay? Lauren, I'm home now, just checking in. So I checked the map again. She was, in fact, home, probably sitting on the couch, wondering where I was, wondering if I'd seen something, or maybe just working on her next lie. Matt handed me a beer that night. What are you going to do? I don't know. Maybe just show her the screenshots. Ask her straight up. He shook his head. She'll lie. You know that, right? People like that. They'll lie until you hold a mirror in their face. That got stuck in my brain. The mirror. So I made a plan. The next day, I packed up a few things from our place while she was at work. I didn't touch her stuff, didn't snoop. I wasn't there to dig for more pain, just grabbed what I needed. Then I left something behind. My phone, set up on the kitchen counter, camera pointed at the front door. A printed screenshot of her location from that night. A sticky note on top. This is your mirror. Let's talk when you're ready to be real. I didn't wait around for her reaction. I went back to Matt's and tried to sleep for the first time in 2 nights. She called me that evening. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Her voice was shaking. Hey, I don't know what to say. I know what this looks like, but it wasn't what you think. I messed up. I just needed, I don't know, I guess I didn't know how to tell you things haven't felt right lately. I swear it wasn't serious. Please, call me, please. The worst part? I still missed her. Even after everything, I still had this dumb instinct to want to fix it, to believe her. But the thing about trust is, it's not something you just patch up with apologies. Once it's cracked, everything changes. And I wasn't the same person anymore. I didn't know where this was heading, whether we'd sit down and have the painful conversation, or whether this was the start of me walking away for good. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to be lied to again. I waited 2 full days before calling her back. Not out of spite, just because I needed to be able to get through the conversation without either yelling or falling apart. I needed clarity, control, something I hadn't had since that moment in the car, watching her laugh with another man. She picked up on the first ring. Hey, she said, almost a whisper. I didn't think you'd call. I wasn't sure I would. Silence. Then finally, can we meet? Please. We sat across from each other in a little coffee shop downtown, neutral ground, public enough that neither of us would raise our voice, but private enough that the weight of what was about to be said could sit between us without anyone else noticing. She looked different, tired, nervous. She kept playing with the sleeve of her sweater like she couldn't get warm. "I'm sorry," she said, before I even asked a question. "I should have told you. I should have been honest a long time ago." "With me or with yourself?" I asked. She looked down. I didn't want to attack her. I didn't even want revenge. What I wanted, desperately, was for her to say something that made it all make sense, that justified the lying, the pretending, the quiet betrayal that didn't feel dramatic, but somehow still broke everything. "It wasn't serious," she said. "I swear, it was just someone I met at work. We had drinks once, and then it happened again, and I didn't know how to stop it." "You mean you didn't want to stop?" She didn't argue. "Why didn't you just tell me?" I asked. "Why keep coming home to me? Why say I love you like nothing was wrong?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "Because I do love you. I felt stuck, like we were on this track toward marriage and houses, and I didn't know if I wanted that yet, but I didn't want to lose you either." That stung in a whole different way. "You wanted to keep both," I said. She nodded, and for once she didn't try to soften the truth. "I was selfish," she said. "I thought I could figure it out without hurting you, and I was wrong." The weird thing was, hearing her admit it didn't make me feel better. It didn't make me angry either. It just made me tired. We talked for another hour. Quietly, honestly, about everything. The years we spent building something, the way we started drifting, how she felt unseen, how I felt taken for granted. It wasn't just the guy at the bar, it was a slow decay we both ignored. "I'm not asking for another chance," she said, wiping her eyes. "I just needed you to know the truth. You deserve that." I nodded. "Thanks for finally giving it to me." And that was it. No dramatic goodbye, no cinematic walkout, just the quiet understanding that we had reached the end, not because of one night, or one guy, or one lie, but because we both stopped choosing each other somewhere along the way. I moved out of our apartment 2 weeks later. Matt helped me haul my stuff into a short-term rental across town. Lauren and I texted a few times after that. Civil, cordial. Closure, I guess. I never asked what happened to the other guy. I didn't want to know. Some things you just leave behind. It's been 7 months now. I've started running in the mornings, picked up a few freelance projects, got my own place. It's not much, but it's mine. Some days I think about the version of us that might have made it. The one where we had the hard conversation sooner, where we didn't let routine smother honesty. But most days, I don't. Most days, I'm just grateful I listened to that small voice in my gut the night her location popped up. The one that said, "Something's off." Because sometimes the scariest thing isn't finding out the truth. It's living your whole life without ever knowing it.